What a fucking episode! Whoa! Yo, what is going on, Senpai Squad? Welcome back to a brand new video, and if you can't tell, I'm a little bit excited because we just witnessed the best episode possibly of the entire Naruto franchise. Just like, what? In fact, come to think of it, I've not even written any notes down for today's episode review because I've spent all that time at this moment finishing that episode, watching it a total of 4 times so far. The episode came out just over around about an hour and a half ago. I've seen it 4 times. Is that possible? No. It's been like an hour and a half. It has been insane. 2 hours? I don't know. You know what? I need to write some notes down for this episode. So, let's see. This episode was probably not gonna focus, but it was fucking awesome. Right, okay. Let me calm down slightly. So I'm gonna try and do this without any notes because no, that wasn't just for a gag. Yeah, I know, it wasn't funny, but I genuinely haven't written any notes for this because my mind right now is just all over the place. Who's got time to write notes? Basically, this episode, I think I might have mentioned it once or twice in this video. I'm not too sure, but anyway, this episode was awesome. It was genuinely insane, and like I said, this quite possibly could be one of the best episodes of the entire Naruto franchise. It's already hands down the greatest Boruto episode by an absolute mile, and I'm pretty sure one of my reviews is named the best Boruto episode yet or something. Well, that is long gone. I've picked that episode up and just chucked it out the window. There's not a window there. But basically, you just need to know that this episode was incredible. And I understand there's a lot of non-Boruto watchers that are going to be watching this episode and possibly even this episode review. And I want to know their opinion. Joking, I know their opinion because it's the same as everyone's opinion. It was absolutely incredible. Usually when Boruto has an episode released, there's an equal amount of positivity and negativity. Whereas today, that was non-existent. It was all positivity. It was like 0.1% negativity for this week's episode. And honestly, I know we didn't get an episode last week, but I couldn't care less. I could not care less. Because this episode made up for that a kajillion, billion, badrillion, drillion, cadillion, kabillion %. That number isn't a word. Do you know why? Because no real word can describe how insane that episode was. Anyway, let's actually try and get into some actual, like, you know, proper reviewer type stuff, even though I'm useless at that. So let's give it a go, shall we? So then the fight this time around was actually relatively different to what it was in the movie. I think the only part that was actually the same as the movie was like the giant monster battle type thing between the massive rock creature. I forgot his name. He actually has a name in the Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Don't know what it is. Is it relevant? Not even close. Versus obviously the Susanoo Kurama. That was the same as in the movie, but I think it was slightly shortened down, or at least it felt like it. I don't know if that was just because I was caught up in all the hype of the episode, or if they actually shortened it down a bit, because I know myself and quite a few other people, they're not too bothered about that because, let's be honest, we don't like Naruto in general being a massive monster fight, which it started to become. But this episode was so much hand-to-hand combat. Now, who doesn't love hand-to-hand combat in Naruto? Hand-to-hand combat in Naruto is genuinely a thing of beauty, and this episode was no exception. If this episode, the animation in this episode was literally, it was out of this world. 100%. Some of the best animation I've seen in an episode of anime for a long time. It was, and having that balled up together with the hand-to-hand combat scene between Momoshiki and Naruto and everyone, it was just mind-blowing. It genuinely was, like I said, a thing of absolute beauty. I also want to comment on Momoshiki a little bit, because this episode did a fantastic job of actually making him a scary, intimidating and strong villain, because obviously we all know Momoshiki is supposed to actually be stronger than Kaguya, and watching the movie, I think we can all agree none of us got that vibe at all. But that scene at the start of the episode where he literally absolutely bodied the Kage within seconds, that really just straight away showed you that, you know what, this guy genuinely can be, or even stronger than, Kaguya level. Like, it was just done to perfection. Like I said, they genuinely made him an intimidating villain, which I don't know if they were going for that in the movie, but it didn't come across that way. I didn't find him that intimidating. In fact, I kind of found him a bit boring and lame. But the anime version, woo! I mean, that design alone helps it, obviously. But obviously the great animation, but he had this evil laugh. He was genuinely, you know, he talked the talk and he walked the walk. You know, his actions followed up his words. He said he was going to be a badass and just destroy the living daylights out of people. And guess what? He was a badass and he did destroy the living daylights out of people. But towards the end of the episode, when he took those final pills, after he absorbed, obviously, Katsusuke's scientific ninja tool, which last week we didn't actually see them jump through the portal, at least not as far as I'm aware. But obviously in this week's episode we do see that they did jump through with them, which is a bit like, I'm pretty sure when we all saw Katsusuke, we all just thought, oh, not you. But it is what it is, and obviously Momoshiki absorbed the jutsus, and then he took these extra pills, and so he got swole. We got swole Momoshiki. Momoshiki got buff. He had abs. Not many Naruto characters, for whatever reason, have abs. Unless you're like obscenely large, like the Raikage or someone. For whatever reason, you don't have abs. Sasuke never had abs. Naruto never had abs for some weird reason. But Momoshiki, he had abs. And that's a really weird thing to point out. But I don't know what it was. This is going to sound so just a bit gay. But his muscles, I was staring at his muscles. I was staring at Momoshiki's muscular figure. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was staring at the muscles of an alien in today's Boruto episode. You know what? Now that I'm saying it, it does start to sound a little bit weird, you know? But can we move on, please? We got a slightly different version of the whole Boruto using his Rasengan. Basically, there was no Susanoo involved. He was just kind of Boruto throughout the entirety of the episode, more or less, until towards the end when he actually threw his Rasengan. He was all just basically being a massive spectator and just in awe of what he was witnessing. He was basically us at home, you know, just sat there, not really contributing at all. But my God, was you impressed? You know, that was Boruto from most of the episode. But then he was thinking about Sasuke talking about him about a ninja way, and then Boruto found his ninja way and blah blah, and he did his Rasengan. And now this is something I want to talk about because it surprised me. Me and I think like 90% of the fandom and the community just I don't know if we presumed it or if we were told this at some point or if this at one point was a fact, but we all thought that Boruto's Rasengan, the vanishing Rasengan, was because he added some wind chakra release nature thing to it, and that's what made him vanish. And 99% of people were like, yes. And they were all like, yeah, when he's older, he's going to create a new Rasengan and do what Kakashi failed to do by adding the lightning release to it. Well, today's episode actually told us that the Vanishing Rasengan is what happens when you add lightning release to it. Whether or not there's a stage above that, there might be, because wouldn't surprise me. But Sasuke told us that the Vanishing Rasengan is because Boruto adds his own lightning release to the Rasengan subconsciously, and that's what makes it vanish. And we actually saw in this episode, if you guys go and rewatch it, I'm sure you probably saw it when he threw the Rasengan and it disappeared. There was a bolt of electricity and lightning. We all saw that, but when Boruto actually took the huge Rasengan that obviously Naruto helped him with, obviously he then he doesn't absorb it, but it disappears. And then after the fight with Momoshiki, blah blah, he's delivering the final blow. The Rasengan reappears, and it reappears with a bolt of lightning. Bolt of lightning happens, and then bang, it is here again. So that's the lightning release Rasengan. At least that's one form of lightning release Rasengan. Whether there's different types, different variants, or whether that's just like a base form and there's more to it, we will see, because I'm sure we're gonna see. Obviously, Kakashi tried to add his lightning release to the Rasengan and create the Chidori because he failed. I'm expecting Boruto to do whatever Kakashi tried to do, but actually master it this time around. Whether or not that is the Vanishing Rasengan, I don't think it is. I do think there's going to be a stage above this, but we'll have to see. As far as we're aware right now, that is what happens when you add the lightning release, which is not what at all we thought. We all thought it was because of wind release, but it is what it is. Going on to the actual massive Rasengan, we've got some slightly new flashbacks, which they hit you. They hit you hard. They really, really did. We saw, I think it was Jiraiya starting it off. Then I think it was Kushina, then Neji, then Minato, then Sasuke, and then Hinata from the last. It was all of that. It was just Boruto saw all of it. Some of you may not know this, but Boruto actually saw all of this, which just kind of shows you everything he put Naruto's been through, which is always nice. And actually, I'm backtracking here really quickly. Actually, there were so many throwbacks to old fights during this. Obviously, Sasuke using the massive shuriken, he threw it, boom, it went behind Momoshiki, boom, out came Naruto from the shuriken. That was in the Zabuza arc. We also got to see that this was awesome. This really surprised me. Naruto threw his Rasen Shuriken, and then that turned into Sasuke, and I was like, woo! And then Sasuke got smacked and went flying, and his sword was in the air, and he caught the sword with his foot using chakra, span it round, and then threw it back at Momoshiki while in midair, upside down, using his foot. It was insane. I feel like he might have done that before, actually, maybe with a kunai or something in the Chunin exams way back. I might be mistaken, but nevertheless, it was absolutely just so good. So good. But anyway, Boruto versus Momoshiki, we got a slight glimpse of the Jogan. There was this bit where Boruto, obviously, Sasuke swaps places with, I think it was his sword, and then his sword's in the air, and then Boruto turns into the sword, and then he throws a kunai, and Momoshiki's defending himself from Sasuke, and then catches the kunai like that, goes to attack Sasuke with it, and then Sasuke swaps something around with the kunai goes, it's so good. I need to calm down. I'm having like a really nice hyperventilation right now. I say it's really nice because I'm talking about an insane Boruto episode. So deep breaths. Jogan. We got the Jogan. We got more Jogan. It's been so long since we saw the Jogan. This was something brand new for any of you anime onlys. This, as you can tell, if you couldn't tell, this was not in the manga because I'm still freaking hyped as hell. But we saw the Jogan, and then the whole prophecy thing when Momoshiki, once Momoshiki was dead, was a little bit different. Obviously, in the manga, time froze, and the only person that could see it was Sasuke. I still believe he saw it this time around anyway, and I still think time did freeze still. But they kind of went into this old, like, weird orangey dimension type thing where it's just a massive world of nothingness. And Momoshiki was there and he was talking to him. And that's where he saw the Jogan. He was like, oh, I see now. You've inherited the power of the Otsutsuki. And then he was saying, obviously, that line that us manga readers have been dying to hear for like over a year now, where Momoshiki grabs Boruto by the hand and says, one day those blue eyes of you will take away everything. That was prophecy, guys, that all us manga readers were hyping up, because the foreshadowing to that, it shows that Boruto's not going to be a zero to hero story. It's going to be a hero to zero, then probably, I presume, back to hero. But that scene was fantastic, and then obviously it all went away, and then you see Momoshiki die, and then we get a close-up of Sasuke with his Rinnegan, and I think that kind of shows us that, yeah, he did see that. We didn't get to see the Karma Seal. Well, I say we didn't. We did. If you look closely, when Boruto's looking at the palm of his hand, you do see a faint, like a really... It's very faint, but it is there. The Karma Seal is there, but it's kind of hidden away in all of his burns and stuff, and we actually got a tease at the end of the episode, at the end of the preview for next week's episode, of Boruto taking off the bandage off his arm, goes to turn his palm around, and it just stops, and we didn't get to see the karma, and that tipped me over the edge. I did not like that at all, Studio Perio. The ending changed slightly as well, with the start of it at least. We got a bit of the final fight, like we saw Naruto and Boruto doing the Master Rasengan and Inferno Rasengan. The whole of the episode was just wholesome, badass, incredible, the best, running out of words, just kidding. There's not enough words to describe this episode anyway. There isn't a word to describe this episode. I think I need to put it to a halt. There's so much more to talk about, I understand, about this episode, and I understand this review was probably not the most unbiased review and probably not the most detailed review, but if you want to see a man fanboy over a freaking incredible episode, the best possibly of the entire Naruto franchise, then this was your video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're not already to become a member of the Senpai Squad, and I'll see you guys in another video. But until then, peace. I didn't turn my light on. I just realised I failed you guys. I'll see you next time.